Hello, wonderful audience. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with me. We extend a warm welcome to you as we discuss and analyze Trina Robbins in this video. Trina Robbins Perlson, August 17, 1938, April 10, 2024 was an American cartoonist. She was an early participant in the underground Comix movement and one of the first women in the movement. She co-produced the 1970 underground comic It Ain't Me, Babe, which was the first comic book entirely created by women. She co-founded the Women's Comix Collective, wrote for Wonder Woman, and produced adaptations of Dope and the Silver Metal Lover. She was inducted into the Eisner Hall of Fame in 2013 and received Eisner Awards in 2017 and 2021. As a scholar and historian, Robbins researched the history of women in cartooning. She wrote several nonfiction books including Wimmen and the Comix 1985, The Century of Women Cartoonists 1993, The Great Women Superheroes 1996, From Girls to Grrrlz 1999, Pretty in Ink 2013, and Flapper Queens, Women Cartoonists of the Jazz Age 2020. She co-founded the organization Friends of Lulu in 1993. In the next portion, we'll be immersing ourselves in the realm of early life and education and examining its broader implications. Trina Perlson was born on August 17, 1938, in Brooklyn, New York City, to Jewish immigrants originally from Belarus. Her mother was an elementary school teacher and her father was a tailor. She grew up in South Ozone Park, Queens, and held an early fascination with comic book heroines, especially Sheena, Queen of the Jungle. As a teenager, she attended science fiction fan conventions. Robbins attended Queens College in New York and dropped out. She then attended Cooper Union for a year, where she studied drawing. She moved to California in 1960, settling in Los Angeles where she was a nude model for men's magazines. She returned to New York in 1966 and lived in Manhattan's East Village, where she worked as a stylist and ran a clothing boutique called Broccoli. In the late years, she designed clothes for Mama Cass, Donovan, David Crosby, among others. She was intimately involved in the rock scene, where she was close friends with Jim Morrison and members of the Byrds. Robbins was the first of the three ladies of the canyon in Joni Mitchell's classic song from the album of the same name. Without wasting any more time, let's jump into the fascinating world of early work. Robbins was an active member of science fiction fandom in the and ers. Her illustrations appeared in science fiction fanzines like the Hugo-nominated Habakkuk. As we venture forward, let's examine comics in detail and gain a deeper appreciation for its significance. Robbins' first comics were printed in the East Village Other in 1966. She also contributed to the spin-off underground comic Gothic Blimp Works in 1969. That same year, she designed a one-piece costume for the Warren Publishing character Vampirella for artist Frank Frazetta in Vampirella September 1969. Robbins left New York for San Francisco in 1970 and worked at the feminist underground newspaper It Ain't Me, Babe. The same year, she produced the first all-woman comic book, the one-shot It Ain't Me, Babe comics with fellow female artist Barbara Willie Mendes. Robbins became involved in creating outlets for and promoting female comics artists through projects such as the comics anthology Women's Comix, with which she was involved for 20 years. Women's Comix featured Robbins' Sandy Comes Out, the first comic strip featuring an out lesbian. During this time, Robbins also became a contributor to the San Francisco-based underground paper Good Times, along with art director Harry Driggs and Guy Colwell. Robbins spoke out against the misogyny and Boys Club of Comics creators, criticizing underground comics artist Robert Crumb for the perceived misogyny of many of his comics, saying, "It's weird to me how willing people are to overlook the hideous darkness in Crumb's work. What the hell is funny about rape and murder?" In the early years, Robbins created adaptations of Sax Rohmer's Dope and Tanner Lee's The Silver Metal Lover. In the mid-years, she wrote and drew Misty for the Marvel Comics children's imprint Star Comics. The short-lived series was a reinterpretation of the long-standing character Millie the model, now minding her niece Misty. She followed Misty with the similar California Girls, an 8-issue series published by Eclipse Comics in 1990. Robbins edited and contributed to Choices, a pro-choice benefit comic anthology for the National Organization for Women, published under Robbins' own imprint, Angry Isis Press. The all-star list of contributors, who were mostly but not all women, included representatives of the underground Lee Mars, Sharon Rudol, Harry Driggs, Diane Newman, Harry South, Robbins, and Robbins herself, alternative Nina Paley, Phoebe Glockner, Reed Waller and Kate Worley, Roberta Gregory, Norman Dogg, and Steve Lafler, queer Leslie Ewing, Jennifer Camper, Alison Bechtel, Angela Boccage, Jackie Urbanovich, Howard Cruz, Robert Tripto, and MJ Goldberg, and mainstream Cynthia Martin, Barbara Slate, Mindy Newell, Ramona Fragan, Steve Lyaloha, William Messner Lobes, and Bill Cope Comics Communities. A number of contributors Nicole Hollander, Kathy Geiswright, Gary Trio, Bill Griffith, and Jules Pfeffer were comic strip creators whose work in the anthology was reprinted from their syndicated strips. In 2000, Robbins introduced Gogol, superhero stories designed to appeal to young girls. Robbins wrote the stories, with Ann Timmons providing the bulk of the art. The series ran for 5 issues with Image Comics, and then was picked up by Dark Horse Comics, with the final issue coming out in 2006. In 2010, she began writing comic adventures of the woman detective character Honey West for a series published by Moonstone Books. Prepare yourself for an eye-opening discussion on Wonder Woman in the upcoming portion of this video. Robbins' official involvement with Wonder Woman began in 1986. At the conclusion of the first volume of the series, in conjunction with the series Crisis on Infinite Earths, DC Comics published a 4-issue limited series titled The Legend of Wonder Woman, written by Kurt Busiek and drawn by Robbins. The series paid homage to the character's Golden Age roots. She also appeared as herself in Wonder Woman Annual to 1989. In the mid-years, Robbins criticized artist Mike Deodato's bad girl art portrayal of Wonder Woman, calling Deodato's version of the character a barely clothed hypersexual pinup. In the late years, Robbins collaborated with Colleen Doran on the DC Comics graphic novel Wonder Woman, The Once and Future Story, on the subject of spousal abuse. As we transition, let's shed light on writing and activism and its relevance to our ongoing exploration. In addition to her comics work, Robbins was an author of nonfiction books on the history of women in cartooning. Her first book, co-written with Catherine Ironwood, was Wimmen and the Comics, a history of female comic strip and comic book creators. Subsequent Robbins volumes on women in the comics industry include A Century of Women Cartoonists Kitchen Sink, 1993, The Great Women Superheroes Kitchen Sink, 1997, From Girls to Grrrlz, A History of Women's Comics from Teens to Zines Chronicle, 1999, and The Great Women Cartoonists Watson Duptel, 2001. Her later work included Pretty in Ink, published by Fantagraphics in 2013, which covers the history of North American women in comics dating from Rose O'Neill's 1896 strip The Old Subscriber Calls. Robbins was a co-founder of Friends of Lulu, a non-profit formed in 1994 to promote readership of comic books by women and the participation of women in the comic book industry. Robbins is featured in the feminist history film She's Beautiful When She's Angry. Get ready for a captivating exploration as we unravel the layers of personal life and death and their profound significance. In 1962, she married Paul J. Robbins in Los Angeles, but they divorced 4 years later. Robbins also had a daughter with cartoonist Kim Deitch. She wrote a memoir entitled Last Girl Standing, released in 2017 by Fantagraphics. Robbins died after a stroke in San Francisco, California, on April 10, 2024, at the age of 85. Her partner was artist Steve Lyler from 1977 until her death. As we transition, let's shed light on awards and recognition and its relevance to our ongoing exploration. Robbins was a special guest of the 1977 San Diego Comic-Con when she was presented with an Inkpot Award. She won a Special Achievement Award from the San Diego Comic-Con in 1989 for her work on Strip AIDS USA, a benefit book that she co-edited with Bill Sienkiewicz and Robert Tripto. She was the 1992 guest of honor of WisCon, the Wisconsin Science Fiction Convention. Robbins was a three-time winner of the Lulu of the Year Award in 1997 for her book The Great Women Superheroes, in 2000 for her book From Girls to Grrrlz, and in 2001 along with co-author Ann Timmons for Go Girl. From Girls to Grrrlz also won a 2000 Firecracker Alternative Book Award. In 2001, Robbins was inaugurated into the Friends of Lulu Women Cartoonists Hall of Fame. In 2002, Robbins was given the special John Busmahaxter Award, a recognition for comics published in Spain. In 2011, Robbins' artwork was exhibited as part of the Koffler Gallery show Graphic Details, Confessional Comics by Jewish Women. In July 2013, during the San Diego Comic-Con, Robbins was one of 6 inductees into the Eisner Hall of Fame. The award was presented by Mad Magazine cartoonist and Gru the Wanderer creator Sergio Origans. The other inductees were Lee Falk, Al Jaffe, Mort Meskin, Joe Sinnott, and Spain Rodriguez. In a 2015 poll, Robbins was ranked among the best female comics creators of all time. Comics Alliance listed Robbins as one of 12 women cartoonists deserving of Lifetime Achievement recognition in 2016. In 2017, Robbins was chosen for the Wizard World Hall of Legends. Robbins' art and art from her collection of the work of women cartoonists was featured in the 2020 Society of Illustrators exhibit Women in Comics, Looking Forward, Looking Back. It was later featured in the Women in Comics exhibit at the Palazzo Merlin in Rome, Italy. Prepare yourself for an eye-opening discussion on comics in the upcoming portion of this video. As writer-artist, unless otherwise noted. In this section, we'll be shedding light on major works and its impact on our understanding of the subject. It Ain't Me, Babe Comix Last Gasp, 1970 co-founder, contributor All-Girl Thrills Print Mint, 1971 editor, contributor Women's Comix Last Gasp, Renegade Press, Rip-Off Press, co-founder, contributor Mama. Grrrlz Educomics, June 1978 editor and contributor, along with Susie Varty, Joyce Farmer, and others. Dope Eclipse Comics, adaptation of the Sax Rowan novel The Silver Metal Lover Crown Books, 1985 adaptation of the Tanith Lee novel Misty Star Comics, limited series The Legend of Wonder Woman DC Comics, 1986 limited series California Girls Eclipse Comics, writer-artist, with contributions from Barb Rouse Strip AIDS USA, a collection of cartoon art to benefit people with AIDS. Last Gasp, 1988 co-editor with Bill Sienkiewicz and Robert Tripto. Choices, a pro-choice benefit comic anthology for the National Organization for Women Angry, ISIS Press, 1990 editor and contributor Wonder Woman, The Once and Future Story DC Comics, 1998 writer, drawn by Colleen Doran Gogol. Image Comics, writer Gogol. Dark Horse Comics, writer, issues feature all new material Honey West, 2, 6, 7 Moonstone Books, 2010 writer Honey West and the Cat Moonstone Books, 2013 writer. Now let's dig deeper into anthology contributions and unveil the hidden treasures it holds within. East Village, Other late as Gothic Blimp Works. East Village, Other, 1969 Moonchild Comics. Nicola Cutie, Moonchild Productions, September 1970 Swift Comics. Bantam Books, 1971 Girl Fight Comics Print Mint, 1972, 1974 Tough Shit Comics Print Mint, 1972 Barbarian Comics California Comics, 1972 Comics Book Marvel Comics, Kitchen Sink Press, with Saturn 1976 Editor Tits and Klitz Comics Nanny Goat Productions, 1977 Gates of Eden Fantico Enterprises, Gay Comics, Bob Ross, 1985, 1986, 1998 War News Jim Mitchell. 1991 Underground newspaper launched to protest the first Gulf War. 11 September 11, 2001 Artists respond. Dark Horse Comics. Shaz Comics. Image Comics. 2002 The Phantom Chronicles. Moonstone Books. 2007 Girl Comics. Marvel Comics. 2010. I love hearing from you, so leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments.